Hi everybody, so this is Mayank Agarwal here, and today we are starting our first lecture on CS384 Python programming. So I think I taught the entire batch of 18 with the course CS102 Programming and Data Structures, so I need not have an introduction. In a similar manner, like we did for CS102, we will be having the Python course. Of course, the Python course is 2026. Okay, implying so we have 2 hour lecture and a 2 hour tutorial. Okay, so both will be taken by me only, right? So mostly I would record lectures depending on the days and the weekends whenever I get time to publish them. I will try to put only YouTube videos so that it is easier for you to watch at your own convenience. Okay, we will also try to conduct quizzes. So quizzes I'm aiming to take once every 2 weeks for whatever the syllabus that has been covered till now, right? And not many questions in quizzes. I think 10 to 15 questions would be there. Predict the output and all those kind of similar thing that you did in C, right? Remember the Google quiz you used to have? It would be of similar sort only. Okay. So first of all, there are students. See, I know as your course curriculum goes. Let me just select a pen to write something on the screen. So as your course curriculum goes, you feel like, okay, you have to take an open elective. So let me just make you understand the concept of open elective. So open elective is like this course is floated by the Department of Computer Science, right? So there are no computer science students with you, right? So you can have a sigh of relief, right? So all non-computer science students can take this subject. So first question, why Python? Right? When there are so many languages, C, Java, etc., etc., why Python? So biggest thing is Python has become really a language for developers these days. You have AI, deep learning, vision, everything you have a library in Python. The problem with C was that the syntax was so cryptic and everything had to be written so much manually and there were chances for so many errors. Python takes care of all of this, provides extensive libraries that you will see. So even if you do not have any knowledge of Python, so based on the input that I received from the Google form, most of them have written like novice, and which is absolutely okay, right? Even if you have the knowledge like, okay, Python till date you only knew was a snake, and that is fine with it. We will start from the absolute basic. The teaching methodology will remain the same. I will execute the code online near you and then explain why the particular output actually appeared or why it did not. Right? I feel that helps you understand and visualize the code. I will try to keep all my videos in less than 5 minutes so that you cover only one concept in one video. Okay, so Python will be very interesting, right? It has become like a language for all the guys, right? So a non-CSE guy, if he wants to start with any particular language, he or she should opt for Python, right? Welcome to the course. It will be much fun. You will learn a lot of things, right? I'm planning to cover the basics of Python, data processing, classes and object, some networking thing, and if time persists, because of course you all have not done any machine learning course, I will try to cover few basic things of machine learning towards the end, right? Probably second last or maybe last week lectures. Before that, we have a lot of stuff to do. Okay, so biggest positive in Python is no pointers, right? So he was sigh of relief. So just forget, okay, what is the output of ampersand A, what is the output of ampersand star C, what is the output of star D, where D is equal to something ampersand of P. Yo, nothing, right? So Python is fun. No pointers, no tension. So you will never have a segmentation fault kind of error in Python to whatever things we will cover in the syllabus. And even a bigger thing, there is no need of semicolon at the end of Python statements, right? So you can directly write a statement, press enter, and that itself signifies the end of the line. Remember the standard C error, expected semicolon at the end, no need to do in Python. Python even removes the use of curly brackets, right? When you write a longer code, all those curly brackets used to appear like a whirlpool, right? For something in something, and then you put a this. And if you're writing a 3D matrix program, then you write a for within a for within a for matrix multiplication, and then you add another bracket, then you add another bracket. So these curly braces are also removed by Python, right? So it's a very clean programming language, very nicely written. And some features of Python. This I will quickly skim through, just theory, easy to learn and use, that you will see when we do our practical and some programming assignments. Expressive. So we will see what is the hello world in Python, right? Let me just write here, just print statement, hello world. And that's it. This is the hello world Python program. No semicolon, no include, nothing. Interpreted language. We will see in brief what is the concept between an interpreted language and a compiled language. See, when you used to write a C code, okay, so let's say the C code is of 10 lines, and in the 10th line you forgot to add a semicolon, right? You are adding a semicolon in every line. Here you forgot. So when you do, let's say gcc a.py, assume, sorry, gcc, let's say this is hello.c, the compiler would generate an error, expected semicolon at particular line number. So even though first 1 to 9 lines are absolutely correct, the C compiler does not allow you to execute those lines. It says the program should be syntactically correct 100%. Okay, syntactically. Your logic may be wrong. It does not care about that. Syntactically, it should be correct. And only then it will compile if it is 100% syntactically correct. What happens in an interpreted? Java is also an interpreted language. So what happens? So you have lines 1, 2, 3, up to, let's say, line number 9 and line number 10. If the code till line number 9 is correct, absolutely correct syntactically, any interpreted language, maybe it is Java or Python, will execute these 9 lines, but the moment it comes on line number 10, it will break the program, right? Now you may say that why is the advantage of interpreted? We should actually use compiling so that when everything is correct, you execute, right? But now if you see that if the code of kernel or any longer code is there, right? A kernel code comprises of few million lines of codes, right? So you cannot expect that during every build, every line and everything will be syntactically correct. So at this time, you get the interpreted language help, right? So this is the use of interpreted. Of course, this feature makes them slow because every time they will be executed line by line. So in a longer program, the program executes each line one after the other. But compiled program are like setup programs, right? You just double click, do next, 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 next. When the program is compiled, I just share the a.out with you and you can run it on any machine, right? Cross-platform. So cross-platform available on Mac, Linux, Windows, on all operating systems. Free and open source. You can easily edit the code. You can easily get, just like Linux. Python is also free and open source. It has support for object oriented, that we will see probably after the midsem. Okay, so classes, inheritance, encapsulation, all features are here. Extensible. You can actually use other programming languages such as C, C++ to compile the code. So this again we will see in the later sections. Large standard library, the biggest advantage of Python. Many of the usual stuff that you used to do in C manually or writing a code yourself is built into Python. Like for example, TensorFlow. This library is useful for for deep learning purposes. Pandas. This can manipulate Excel, CSVs, and all those files. This is for working with numerical stuff. See, NumPy is NUM is for numerical, PY is Python. Keras, again deep learning. PyTorch, again deep learning framework. Django provides for web development. So it's a huge collection of library in Python that makes it such a lovely programming language. It also has support for a graphical user interface. Integrated. It can easily be integrated with programming languages like C, C++, Java. In fact, even on web development like PHP and everything. Embeddable. It supports writing of codes into in embedded forms also. The code of the other programming language can use the Python source code. Many of the embedded devices do have a Python library these days. Dynamic memory allocation. Now, what does dynamic memory mean? So, in C, when you want to define an integer, let's say integer x is equal to 10, you have to explicitly specify the data type for it. Remember? Okay, semicolon. In Python, you just write x is equal to 10. The Python interpreter will actually read this number and determine the lowest significance of it. Say this number is also a float, right? But the lowest of it can be, it is not a string, the lowest can be an integer. So you need not write int here, that is not required at all. In Python, you just write a small cleaner code, right? X is equal to 10. So in C, if you are writing integer x is equal to 10 and then you put a semicolon. So both these statements are equivalent. So this is a C syntax and this is Python syntax. See, in Python, you need not write the int, you need not give the semicolon. The code will automatically become more and more cleaner. Okay, so this was just a first introduction to Python, some theory. From next class, we will directly begin interpreting and writing Python codes.